Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. This is Rachel Kirkland here. I feel like I'm on a parade route when I do that every time. Anyways, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman, and thank you for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video. First, I'm just sending you a bit of love from my house, my office to yours, and I'm glad that you're with me today. Hope that just having these videos, having accessibility to people that you resonate with makes you feel a sense of community, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of like there are people out there that get me, that go through what I go through, that understand me. So a bit of shared energy, shared space, shared heart. All right, if you're new, I say this at the beginning of every video, but if you are new to my channel, first of all, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Subscribe, share, like, do all of those things that they always tell you to do to just keep the message spreading. These are free video content, so it's always a commitment and dedication of mine in terms of time to take this time and do this and just share from my heart what I feel like Spirit's put on my heart to do. So if you vibe with this, keep that love going. Keep spreading the love. Keep spreading that sense of message of community in a space where people feel like they can grow spiritually, metaphysically, and within the paranormal gifts that they're given in our multidimensional bodies. You all know, though, that you can always gain a sense of very specific instruction if you want to learn more specifics about your psychic gifts, your healing gifts in terms of the sacred intuitive arts. I have my online masterclass that I truly, wholeheartedly believe in to help develop and strengthen your confidence in your own abilities and to bring those forth in a regular, practiced way to utilize with integration and power in all that you do. So that's available on my website and the online teaching curriculum. So, all right, I think that's all that I'm going to say about kind of the to-dos. This week, I actually squished some questions together because they were all on the same type of topic, and I felt that it would be an inclusive type video to talk about it. So I'll read all the questions and we'll go into it. So the first question said, Rachel, thank you so much for your channel. I have learned so much from you over these years. I wanted to ask you to please address the collective fear that everyone has been going through during this time. That was question one. Second question says, Rachel, sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in the anxiety. What is the best way to handle my fear? Can you please give guidance on your YouTube channel? Second question, now you can see how they're on the same theme and everyone is trying to deal in the best way that they're capable. And the third question that's a little similar says, Rachel, can you please talk about protection right now? There's a lot of crazy things coming up, fear, and my protective urges feel very strong. I'd really like your help and depend on your channel so much. Please give guidance through your YouTube direction. Thanks so much for all that you do. So all of those questions, those three, basically hit and cover the topic of fear. Sorry, I'm laughing right now. This is a tangent. Y'all know me. If you've been following me for any time, and you know I'm a very authentic, real person, even though I do these videos, because Spirit has told me to do these videos. But I got my hair all done today. I feel very fancy. Everybody's been in that quarantine, non-fancy space, right? And I get my hair highlighted, so I was like not doing anything to my hair. So I went into the salon early this morning, and she, did all the highlights to my hair, and then she was like, hey, we're only at 25% capacity. Do you want me to style you today? And I was like, yeah, style me, make me all pretty. And so she did these curls, and I'm like, ooh. I'm looking at the video, and I feel like that Reba McEntire song, Fancy. Y'all remember that? Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. I can't really sing it, but here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. Y'all remember that? Ah, my cowgirl comes out. If you don't know it, it's a good song. It's a classic country coming of age woman hard knocks song. But anyways, that was my tangent. Now I'm moving on. I'm like crying. I'm laughing so hard. Okay, and I gotta get on with it because this is a serious topic. It's serious. I can't even be serious when I try to say serious. Okay, because it came out like that. Did y'all hear that? Spirit made me go, it's serious. It's some serious stuff. Okay, let's talk about the serious fear. Here we go. Okay, first thing I want to say about this topic of fear that we're going into in all seriousness is that we need to be very astute and aware of what is collective fear versus what is individual fear, and be able to separate or at least identify the difference between the two in the moment. That is incredibly helpful to the psychological process, to the chemical process that is responsive to what's going on. So there is one part of what we're going through as humanity that is collective, right? We are part of many collectives, and we enter into this life being a part of a collective family, being a part of a collective gender, being a part of a collective race, all sorts of collectives that we take on when we carry the genes and the genome and the DNA sequences that we do. There is also, as society goes through epochs or times of large change, shifting, paradigm shifts, or simple, if you just want to call it moments in history, we have collective energetic processing that takes place. And the powers that be, that are typically in control or in places that hold societal control, meaning those that are able to make decisions that affect society, put rules in place that society must follow. Those rule makers typically use a lot of mob mentality or collective programming to keep people in line. And this is not new. There's nothing new here. In fact, this has been studied, and there's been lots of research done on societal programming and kind of, if you put someone in a room where half of the room, even more than half, say you're in a room with 10 people, and you walk in and all 10 people are making certain actions, like they're kind of following a certain set of rules or regulations that are just implied. Maybe they're not specified, but everybody is in the same waiting room, and it seems like everybody goes up and signs in on the same clipboard, and then they sit down, and then when you hear the nurse or someone from the other room call a name, that person stands up and they walk to the door. Maybe that is not implicitly stated on the wall, but this is the way, this is how we run this area or whatnot. But it's implied, and then when everyone begins to do that, that mob mentality or the collective programming begins to shift us into just a natural sense of following regulatory patterns. And so, as a part of a human collective that is within society, like if you didn't grow up in the African bush, then typically you have learned through school systems, different educational forums and things, groups that you've been a part of, even the workforce community of like, this is the way that you do things. And a lot of these are just implied. So power systems use these as well to gain a sense of implicit following. And so when you see everybody at the store wearing a mask, even if there's no sign or they're not stating this needs to be done and this is a regulation, a lot of times people will just follow the implicit form of basically programming that mob energy and then sending in one individual that maybe hasn't heard the rules or doesn't know what they're supposed to do, but they follow along in the program's sense of response. So again, this has been studied, and typically this is the way, like 9 times out of 10, people will do what everyone else in that surrounding environment is doing. So we know this, right? This is just something we're aware of in terms of behavioral psychology, just how behavior patterns work within group dynamics and the sway of how to sway a crowd or a group dynamic or that type of thing. Having stated that, there is an awareness that needs to happen in the time that we're in to just realize that, all right, part of this is just a collective pressure or mob mentality or the use of a group all doing the similar thing, all following a similar behavioral pattern, and it makes me feel like this is what I need to do if I want to be accepted, or because I am part of this group as a human and I shop at this store or wherever I am here with these people, I'm part of this little collective, and so my behavior needs to fall in line with this collective. Now, when that also is inclusive of emotional patterns like fear that you ask about, we have to be very conscientious and aware that that is also impacting us and having a pull, even if it's implied or if it's subconscious. We may not even be aware of it, but energetically and psychologically we're feeling the pressure, even to see someone in a mask or see someone else fearful or hear someone getting escorted out somewhere because they didn't do some sort of, safety, hygiene type of washing of their hands or something. If you're seeing this, or you're seeing people react in fear over and over, and you're part of that collective, maybe you live in a city that has stronger guidelines. Maybe your city has a lot of people that are in fear. Your household maybe has a lot of people that are in fear. Whatever collectives you're a part of, if they begin to have a specific emotional pattern and you're a part of that, it will start to have a sense of subconscious movement on you, whether you realize it or not, to have to either deal with it and comply, and you find yourself feeling fearful also, and you find yourself putting on the mask, or you find yourself washing your hands, and you're moving into an energy unconsciously that is aligned with those of which you're in a collective with. Okay, it's just collective programming. Propaganda works the same way, in the way that they just state it over and over and over, and then so many voices that are just mimicked voices, meaning they may not have even any emotional energy stored in them. They're just mimicking what they're hearing on TV or on the news or in the propaganda. They're mimicking it. And then when the voices become an overarching sense of mob, meaning there's a dominant number speaking the same language, saying the same things, giving the same warnings, then it moves into behavioral programming. So they begin to behaviorally program. Again, this is nothing new. This is just the way that any sort of behavioral psychology works, right? So anyways, all that being said, recognize what is that sense of collective fear and then what is individual fear. So when you're in those collective environments, the easiest way to do that is with just a practice of awareness. And maybe that sounds fancy, but it's super simple to do. I mean, I teach my children this, so I know it's simple. And some of my youngest is 6, so if she can do it, I'm sure that you can do it. But it's simply like noticing when you're in a collective environment that you are an individual within the space. So say you're in an airport, or you're in Walmart, or you're in somewhere that is a collective environment and there's other people around. and you're noticing the pandemonium, or you're noticing that everyone around you in the apartment complex or in that particular space is mimicking the same emotional fear, the same paranoia, or they're doing something that is eliciting a sense of behavioral response. They're all being this way, and I'm noticing this. So in that moment, you simply think the thought, I am here and I am witnessing people's fear. Simple as that. So you identify an I, so you make yourself singular, or you move into an identity or an individuated expression. I am here. And then you move into the observer or the witness. And this makes you separate out from the mob. So it's just a conscientious awareness, and you just do it like this. After a while of doing it, it just becomes rote. Identifying what's collective and what is individual. And then being conscious of where you stand in the moment. This is so powerful for empaths all the time. Because you are picking up and a lot of times not able to deliberately distinguish what is collective energy and what is your own. So in that moment, when you're feeling that sense of pressure, sometimes it literally feels like an oppressive, dense energy coming in of like, whoa, everybody in here is this way. And I'm feeling all of a sudden this pressure of the mob, or whatever it may be, however you want to call it. But you just say, I am here and I am witnessing such and such. So identify what it is that you're witnessing. But first you state that you're separate from it. I am here and I am witnessing such and such. Okay. Once you've done that, then the third thing, or the third little bit of that practice, is to move into kind of how you feel that may be different from them. Okay, so there's a third statement. So the first one is, I am here. You're just thinking this like a mantra in your head. Next one is, I am witnessing the fear of others in this environment. It's just an example, but I am witnessing da-da-da-da-da. You fill it in, what you're witnessing. And then the third statement is, but I actually feel very peaceful right now. And so then you give an individuated expression of your own personal emotional energy and take responsibility for that in that moment. So the practice is very, again, simple, and you can do it, I'm snapping, because you can do it that fast. You can get yourself into this ease of awareness. I am here, I am witnessing such and such, but I actually feel such and such. So you take a statement of the self, you take assessment of the collective that you're in, and then you just state your sense of self among that collective energy. So you become responsible for your own energetic power, sovereignty, and control. This is how I feel. This is my stance. So you have a sense of self. You don't become swallowed up by the collectives. So another point that I want to share is that I want to encourage you, if you are in a tight point of panic or anxiety, if you're having a panic attack, if you are having a sharp sense of pain or difficulty breathing, like if there's a literal sensation of panic attack, and you're experiencing this in an acute moment, like it's sharp, it's in this moment, it's immediate, then I want to just encourage you to move into a space that's comforting to yourself. Don't berate yourself or judge yourself for experiencing the fear. Okay, there's a lot of it going around, and I've done previous videos where I talked about the importance of psychic protection and energetic hygiene during this time. Make sure you are cleaning and clearing your individual space, saging it, giving yourself powerful psychic boundaries of how to make sure that you have no attachments or any sort of energetic debris in your field that may be draining you or making you have those paranoid thoughts over and over. So be aware and be wise about that. But also, when you are experiencing that attack in that moment, be kind to yourself and nurse yourself back. You can hold both perspectives of feeling the attack and experiencing that immediate sensation of the pain, and then moving into a comforting space with yourself, like everything's going to be okay. Phrases that induce a sensation of relief, postures that induce a sensation of relief, like child's pose, or coming into a fetal position, warm blankets, a sense of therapeutic healing energy around yourself. So give yourself a moment of like moving into a restorative space, a healing space that feels like you're in your own sense of cocoon, loving and nurturing yourself. Okay, then the third thing I want to say is a little different energy, and that is encouraging those of you after, or if you are not in those times of collective or immediate panic, moving into the overall awareness of your own sense of confidence and having a strong sense of courage, really gleaning from what can be given to you in times that elicit fear. So when fear comes up, and our initial response tends to be kind of fight or flight, like we address it and we respond really quickly in that acute manner, but there is a kind of back end to the fear that also allows us to really develop our sense of courage and strength. And this is where we see the warrior in us really thrive in these times that are real, and they have to be real because we know it when it's just fake or created for us to develop some fake sense of confidence, right? Like a heavy workout. If you're not really running from a tiger, it's different than just to pretend that you're running from the tiger. You got a lot more strength when there's a real tiger there and you're running for your life. So when life creates these situations, and of course I'm just using that as an example, but when life creates situations that are truly presenting us an opportunity to move towards fear or to move into courage and stand in our own sense of strength, I'm just going to encourage you all, like a sense of warrior, and push for yourself to really drive into what you have as courage. Like push that for yourself. And I've been doing that for myself as well. Like, what do you stand for? What's important to you? Get to those basics. Like many times back in the olden days, there would be the first line defenders, and they would have their military leader that would stand there and remind them, like, this battle counts. Your life counts. Your courage matters, and you have access to it. But you have to pull it out of yourself. But you're the one that has access to that realm of that extra power and that extra authority in you that says, absolutely not. I will not grow smaller. I will not get quieter. Instead, I will get bolder in my sense of self. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to plow through. It just means I'm really revving up the fact that I am not afraid. Even if I experience the sensation of fear, my choices will not be dictated by those fears. My choices will be made in courage because I have that option. I can make the choice based on fear, or I can make it based on courage and a sense of like love and strength of my own integrity, of what means something to me and what's important to me in life, and standing in that sense of solid stance of this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is what I stand for. And even if I feel afraid and I shudder, or I swallow my breath hard, or I have to laugh at it, or I want to turn my eyes away from the difficulty, I will still keep walking forward. I will still grow. I will go beyond what I'm capable of now. And I don't know what that will look like, but I know I will keep walking forward. I have it in me. I have it in me. And I know you do. You wouldn't be on this earth at this time if you hadn't planned to be on this earth at this time. You wouldn't have that capability in you. All right? And I have that warrior spirit in me, so I just wants to push forward. But it doesn't mean you're pushing against anyone. You don't have to push against anything other than fear itself, other than the fact that this will not stop your sense of progress in life. And this is where a true sense of strength is gained. I love you all, absolutely. I support you. I went through each step of that because first of all, I don't want you to feel guilty or ashamed if you feel fear. We all feel fear, all right? There's no shame in that, but you get to choose what you do with it. One way is a sense of conscientious awareness in that moment. One is talking you down when you're in that sense of panic and moving to a place that has relief and restorative energy for you when you're in those acute moments of difficulty and panic. And then that third way is to strengthen yourself from it, right? Like doing exercise, fear reps of like, this ain't gonna hold me down. Nope, no matter where you are in your path, I'm absolutely for you, absolutely for you, absolutely for you. And just supporting you during this process. I'm in it, I'm human, I'm doing it with you. We're all in it together. And I love you all, and yeah, that's it, really, that's the core. I love you all, that's my heart. I love humanity, I want the best for humanity. I want the best for every single one of you. I want you to have the life that you came here to live. I want you to be the person that you are capable of being. You wouldn't have come here if you weren't capable of it. So bring it out. Bring it out. Show us you. Show us you. Show us you. Love you all.